Okay, so hey everybody, it's Paul from ScreenwritingScribe. Hey, I just want to do a reaction to the new guidelines for the writer's strike. So just taking a look here, I'm looking at an article from the AP right now, and it's talking about the 3-year agreement that the writers the writers representatives just got done getting. And so they are, we're going to take a look at the compensation, length of employment, size of staff, and control of artificial intelligence are the ones that, which were a lot of sticking points for the union. So for the union, I'm reading from the AP article here. The union has sought a minimum increases in pay and future residual earnings from shows of between 5 and 6%, depending on the position of the writer. The studios had wanted about 2 to 4%, and the compromise deal was 3.5 to 5%. So not bad. They got a pretty good pay increase, which is good. The writers still don't always get paid good enough, but yeah, no, I'm glad they got a good pay increase. The Guild also negotiated new residual payments based on the popularity of streaming shows, where writers would get bonuses for being part of the most popular shows on Netflix, Cinemax, and other services. A proposed studios initially rejected. Many writers on picket lines had complained that they weren't properly paid for helping create heavily watched properties. Yeah, and I don't see the studio having a leg to stand on. You have the writers who, they're like, well, you just wrote and you don't get anything for that. And I'm like, yeah, they should, because they wrote your program. Again, you know, screenwriters are one of the pieces of the industry that people don't always recognize, because if you have good writing, it makes your show a lot better. And so yeah, like I said, I didn't think the studio had a leg to stand on in that. So yeah, so I was really happy that they got some better residuals. Now, the hard part about that is the streaming services don't give a lot of their numbers out. So I don't know how that all is going to work unless the streaming services are actually going to be beginning to show who are they going to give the numbers to. Are they going to give to the Guild so that they know who these popular shows are? I think another article that I read said I think it was 80 or 90%, if they had a good, if the show had an 80 or 90% if that amount of the viewership of that particular stream platform watched that show, the writers would also get a increase, would get a bonus for that. And so I don't know how they would measure that or how they would release those numbers. Let's see, the next one. Writers also got a guarantee that staffs on shows in initial development would be employed for at least 10 weeks, and that staffs on shows that go on air will be employed for 3 weeks per episode. So that's nice too, because again, the studios were not, we're really quick to get rid of these writer's room and stuff like that. So I'm appreciative that they're giving people sort of like how they can figure their budgets out. You know, how can they, what do they know how to do? Excuse me, how do they get to that? You know, how do they get used to paying for stuff? And so having a guarantee, you know, hey, at least I'm going to be employed for 10 weeks versus 2 weeks, or, you know, they can begin to figure their budgets out and stuff like that. So I think that's good, just to give people an idea of how long things were going to take, because I think beforehand they didn't have that ability to know. And so yeah, so I think that's a really good thing, just to give people more, I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but more repeatability, or more, they understand how long things are going to take. And I think having that expectation is a good thing. And now on to the big one here. On artificial intelligence, the writers got the regulation and control of the emerging technology they sought. Under the contract, raw AI-generated storylines will not be regarded as literary materials, a term in their contracts for scripts and other stories forms a screenwriter produces. This means that they won't be competing with computers for screen credits, nor will AI-generated stories be source material. Their contractual language for novels, video games, or other works that writers may adapt into scripts. And writers have the right under the deal to use AI in their process if the company they are working for agrees and other conditions are met, but companies cannot require a writer to use AI. So, yeah, I think that's a good thing as well too, so that people, as they sort of figure out this emerging technology, they can sort of figure out if they're going to want to use it or not. I think it's going to be the next wave as we transition in the next couple of years. I think everybody's going to be using AI. I think AI is eventually going to be just as prolific as screenwriting software. So I know for some of the studios and stuff like that, that as soon as screenwriting software became available, the number of submissions and stuff like that went through the roof. And I think the same thing will go with AI. As long as AI keeps getting better and better and better, I think more people will submit scripts and stuff like that. So I think the important thing out of this, though, is how to get used to writing with AI. I should say, I believe, this is my thoughts, I think people should begin to learn how to use AI, use it as a writing partner. It's not to replace us, because machines don't know us. They don't know human beings. They don't know human emotions. We all have experienced certain emotions. If you haven't read the latest book, and I'll show it here to you, if you haven't read Kill the Dog yet, Paul talks about, not me, a different Paul, talks about using emotion and stuff like that. And I think that's where screenwriting AI is not there. And I don't think it ever would be there, because we always have the ability ourselves to know what human emotions are like. We know what those experiences are like. And as much as AI thinks it can do that, I don't think AI can ever get at emotion. And if it does, I think it's going to take 20 to 30 years for it to ever be able to write an emotional story from a human standpoint. So, but I think it's good for creativity. I know I use AI in order to helping me outline, or if I have problems with the scene, to help me rewrite the scene. But at the end of the day, it's my creativity. I don't just say, okay, the AI spits out this, and then I'm like, oh yeah, sure, that's what I'll use. It's like, okay, so what will I use? Will I use it and stuff like that? So, what do you guys think about the current contract? I know the writers right now are going to be able to start voting on it. For the most part, it looks pretty good. I also know this article from the AP didn't mention it, but I also know they got more contributions to their pension and healthcare as well too. So I think overall the writers got what they wanted. But like I said, what do you think about the AI stuff? And how do you think the studios are the studios going to be better at letting people know streaming numbers? So what do you think? Like I said, let me know your comments down below. I hope you all have a great day, and we'll give you another video, and as soon as the writers get done, hopefully the strike is over. And like I said, I'm glad that the writers are getting what they need. Well, until the next video, live well and write well.